I'm joined today by Charles Butler. He is a nationally syndicated talk show host, also a financial advisor. Charles, it's really great to have you on. I've been listening to your program. I listened to the December 11th show. That show was a doozy. You were responding to the Senate torture report. You had a lot to say. And one thing that caught my ear, and that's kind of where I want to start today, is you thought that Senator Dianne Feinstein from California should be punched. Why did you come to that conclusion?
Well, the only reason that she released that report was for political reasons. And unfortunately, David, we have too many people who are grandstanding and playing with people's lives. She has endangered the lives of real citizens, of real patriots. Dr. Mitchell said he's received death threats. These people do not play. We know that Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden and his like, the Taliban, they are killing Americans. These people are receiving death threats because of her unclassifying information. And that's why the CIA has always sought to hide information from Congress because of people like Dianne Feinstein.
So you're saying you're okay with the report that said that the CIA was lying about the extent to which they were using these techniques because you think it's the right thing to do to hide that?
No, I don't think it's the right thing to do to hide that, but I don't think it's anyone's business outside of it's classified information, what we do. And the facts are, talking to all the people who were involved on the CIA side, is that they briefed Congress, they briefed Feinstein, they briefed Rockefeller, they briefed all these Democrats. The Republicans also said that they were briefed. So Feinstein and the Democrats are blatantly lying.
So you said that Dianne Feinstein should be punched. What other circumstances do you advocate physical violence against women?
I don't make that distinction about women and the violence thing. That's kind of a European, chivalry thing. And at the end of the day, it's BS because women are out here fighting men. You see it in the movies today where women are attacking men. And like that video with Royce, his wife clearly came back across the elevator with her fist balled up and he had a reaction. He didn't punch her once or twice. He just stuck out his fist and jabbed her to keep her off of him.
All right, but without getting onto that, so you're comfortable, in other words, advocating physical violence against Dianne Feinstein, who happens to be a woman?
I don't care who she is. If she's in the kitchen, then she needs to play the game. And at the end of the day, what Dianne Feinstein's done, a punch is the minimum that should happen to her. But this woman, because she's a senator, she has said that she wants to, she's going to get people killed. So when you compare a punch to getting people killed, David, you can play that game.
No, it's no game. I'm just trying to figure out what your level of comfort is advocating for violence.
My level of comfort is simply this. It's not advocating. You putting words in my mouth. I'm not advocating anything.
Well, you said she should be punched. Presumably, someone should do that.
Somebody should have punched her right in her face.
Yeah.
They put these women in positions of responsibility and of power. And what does she do? She's playing games with people's lives.
Yeah, and you used that term, these women, and I know you've said we should actually have fewer women in the Senate. So why should we have fewer women? And just so the audience knows, women make up slightly more than 50% of the population. They make up 20% of the Senate. You think there's too many women in the Senate. Why is that?
Women.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, Charles, before you go into that, let me just make sure my question is clear. You just said you don't make recommendations or statements based on gender. In other words, you don't care whether you're saying a woman or man deserves to be punched. You don't care about gender. But at the same time, you're saying there should be fewer women in the Senate. So you are actually concerned with gender, right?
That's because Dianne Feinstein, if you go back and do your research, David, which I'm sure you'll do, Dianne Feinstein came out this summer and said that we need more women in the Senate because we're more collegial. We get along, we get things done. That was Dianne Feinstein who said that, not Charles Butler.
Well, but there are actual studies that show that women do have a tendency to build rapport and work together, and that's actually based in science, though.
That's BS. At the end of the day, this country and the world has worked perfectly well with men doing what they need to do and working together. And there's no other place than the military that I look at, where men get together, work very effectively together in an all-male environment without the female influence.
So
So,
you
you know,
discount those studies.
totally.
Okay.
So,
And on what basis have you decided how when you see that, how do you decide when a study is valid and when it isn't? Is it just based on your preconceived notions?
no, because of the people doing the studies. When you have these girly men who are sitting back doing studies like, well, we need women on the football field, and we need women doing this, and we don't need women doing anything. The bottom line is there are environments where that whole male camaraderie is really important. Just like, and let me just say this, since you go down that track.
Please.
I detest the fact that women think that they can get together and exclude men, but whenever we have an exclusive group, it needs to be feminized. We need to have some females in an all-male group. And, you know, I don't believe that we should. There are times when we should have all-male groups, all-female groups. I'm for separate education for women. Studies have shown that women who are in all-girl environments do better in science and math than when they're in
which studies are those?
Those are studies. They're out there, just like the studies you looked up. Go look those up.
So
those are the studies.
Charles,
they're done by the government. Hold it, wait a minute. They're done by the government. They're done by universities, and those studies have said the same thing, that girls do better in science when they're in all-girl environments.
Okay, so it's we're going to get back to you want fewer women in the Senate, but you also have a problem with girly men who do studies. What does that mean, though? Who's a girly man?
Well, you know, there are a lot of feminine males out here, David, and so you want to try to put words in my mouth, and I won't allow you to do that.
Well, hold on a second. Whoa. But Charles, that you use the term, we don't need girly men doing studies, and I simply repeated that back to you. So what word did I put in your mouth?
You tried to say I advocate. Let me be very
I did not
clear.
use that word.
Let me be very clear, David.
Please.
I do not advocate for sissy men or men like Barack Obama in leadership positions, or men like Boehner in leadership positions, men who obviously have not served in the military, have not proven themselves as they're male, but are they men? Can they make hard decisions? And the answer has been absolutely not.
Okay, so but this is really the meat of it, and I hope you'll indulge me in this. When you talk about a sissy man, we heard one characteristic, which is they have not served in the military. How else does Charles Butler define a sissy man?
I define a sissy man by a guy who's soft, a guy who has no commitment, a guy who in many ways hasn't done anything in his life but sit back and push paper and sit behind a desk.
Okay, so let me that's very good. So Charles, an accountant or lawyer who never served in the military, by your definition, that's a sissy man, right?
No. There are actions that have to be involved. There are accountants and there are lawyers who are warriors, who believe in fighting. You look at people like Thurgood Marshall. He never served in the military. He was certainly a warrior. You look at Charles Houston. He was certainly a warrior.
But they don't fall under the definition you just gave me for what a sissy man is. They have not served in the military and they push papers, right?
No, that's included in that definition. So we're expanding that definition.
Let's
David,
do it.
So that you can't, since we're gonna, jocular here, we're gonna go, jockey each other here. I'm just gonna expand that definition.
Please.
That's what the president does.
So what else is included in the definition? There's pushing paper and not being in the military. What else do we have?
Well, a number of things. If you don't know what a girly man is, then, Arnold Schwarzenegger was very clear about girly men, wasn't he?
Yes, but teach me. I'm trying to learn.
That would be my definition. The Arnold Schwarzenegger definition of girly man. That would be my definition of
Okay, I'm getting the sense you don't really know what that definition was, but I
know exactly what that definition means, because see, there are girly men out here, like they're sissies, and they're males, but they're certainly not men, and men understand that.
Okay, so you agree. All right, that's fine, perfect. So let's go back to the women in the Senate. 20 women in the Senate out of 100. Slightly more than 50% of the population is made up of women. You want fewer women in the Senate. Why?
Right. Like Dianne Feinstein, because they're collegial and they don't understand, and Barbara Boxer, and I can go down the list, Elizabeth Warren,
Yeah.
people who don't understand what this country needs in order to move forward, period.
But then, Charles, question for you, and I asked this completely honestly.
Yeah.
You first said you don't care about gender, women, men, if they need to be
about that was in relation.
No, but hold on a second. Let me get the question out, and then if you disagree with the framing of it, I'll allow you to tell me. You first said you don't use gender as a basis on which to analyze whether someone should or shouldn't have something happen to them, etc. But hold on, Charles. Hold on, Charles. Please let me just get the question out. Okay, you were talking about Feinstein.
Yeah.
Then you said you would like to see fewer women in the Senate. But when I asked you why you want fewer women in the Senate, you gave a definition that could apply to men or women. In other words, why is it that you want fewer women in the Senate?
Because the women that I have seen, American women in this who enter politics, especially the American women that we have in politics today, like Hillary Clinton, they don't quite measure up. Have you noticed how they don't quite measure up to the foreign women like Golda Meir? They don't measure up to Maggie Thatcher or even Angela Merkel. Have you noticed that?
I have not. No, I haven't noticed that.
What did Hillary Clinton want to do? The first thing she said was, "Oh, the guys are picking on me." See, American women. Gets back to my initial point why I don't differentiate between punching a girl or punching a guy.
Yeah.
People put themselves in that position, and I think that you have to deal with whatever position comes along, because in my culture, women will kick your behind.
Now, when you say your culture, what is that? What is your culture?
Black women will fight you, and they will fight you like a man. And if you don't fight back, if you don't defend yourself, you're going to get whipped. And people, we laugh about it all the time. Like everybody, this whole Ray Rice thing. I was listening to Marshall Faulk at a golf outing that he played, and he played our force, and we won the tournament, by the way. But he was very clear about how he felt that Ray Rice was being railroaded, and he was. He's been denigrated. His wife even said, well, I attacked him, which she did. But, the white media, the white girly media with all these girly, well, he punched her out. He didn't go over and attack her. He didn't jump on her when she was pushing the button. He hit her. She responded. She came across the, clocking with her fist.
That's interesting. Now, so what you're saying is that you feel that there are specific characteristics to what you've called as your culture, black culture, which with regard to the Ray Rice, Janae Rice domestic violence situation, white media didn't portray that, taking into consideration a better understanding of black culture. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that exactly. And the bottom line is black women will punch you out. They will fight. That's a fact in the black culture. And people know that. We know that.
We have limited time, Charles.
Very few white women will engage you and punch or try to fight you. It's a totally different culture. And then what does the NFL do? They go hire 4 white women to deal with a league that's 75% black. Totally crazy.
And along the same lines that having only 20% of women in the Senate when half the population is women is, right? It's the same thing. We have a lack of representation.
What I care about, I don't care about the population. See, that's that girly man thing again, David.
You just, Charles, you just talked about the population. You said the population of the NFL is 75% women.
Well, David, there are 20% blacks in the population. Does anybody talk about the Senate needs to be 20% black?
They certainly should. Why shouldn't we have? Why shouldn't we have? Why shouldn't we have a governing body that is representative more or less of the population at large?
We don't talk about it, do we? And it's not, is it?
I talk about that all the time.
It's not.
I don't know what happens on your show.
Wait, David. By the way, when we start talking about white women and income disparity, that's who they're talking about. They're not talking about black women and income disparity, because black women make less than white women in the workplace.
I don't know who Charles. I don't know who they is, but I talk about racial income disparity as well.
They meaning the media news.
Okay. Hey, I want to talk about something else from your December 11th show, and this is a really serious thing. You said the lefties need to leave, and they need to experience Sharia law. Now, this is a really serious thing, and I'm going to allow you to respond to this, but just hear me out, because it's the American right, the American Christian right, whose positions mirror those of Sharia law. And I'll tell you why, and I know you won't agree, and I'll let you respond. subjugation of women, homophobia, anti-science, xenophobia, willingness to go to violence very quickly to achieve political goals, which themselves are informed by religion, wanting a theocratic government where religion informs the law, the line, and even the Pope has admitted this, the line between Sharia law and American extremist right-wing Christians is a pretty direct line, isn't it, Charles?
I don't care. It's not. And everything that you said is absolutely false.
Go point by point. Hold on. Go point by point. Which of the points is false?
No, I don't have your notes, but if you had emailed them over, then I'd have your notes to go by.
Okay, but hold on, Charles. We can resolve. You and I can resolve this very, very simply. The Sharia law is anti-gay, and American extremist Christians are anti-gay.
I am definitely anti-gay.
Okay.
Whatever you do in your bedroom is your business. Don't put it in my face, and it will never be acceptable to me or God.
So Charles,
the Pope can't make up scripture. So I don't care about this Pope
forget the Pope.
I don't know where they pulled him from.
Forget the Pope.
The Pope can't make up scripture.
Okay, but so you agree. But Charles, this isn't really important. Let's go piece by piece.
May be a homo himself.
The Pope, okay, you say the Pope may be a homo. That's fine.
He may be a homo himself. I don't know.
Let's go step by step, though. So on the gay issue, you agree that Sharia and right-wing Christians have the same view. On that one, you do agree.
No, I'm not agreeing to that.
You just did, though. You said, yeah, I agree. I'm anti-gay. Christians are anti-gay.
No, I did not. You're drawing that connection. What I said is that Scripture says that homosexuality is immoral, and that's my morality.
Okay, so the Scripture agrees.
The Scripture agrees.
Okay, the Scripture agrees with Sharia law. Those who
no, the Scripture doesn't agree with Sharia law. The Scripture is the Scripture, Christian Scripture.
Okay,
it has nothing to do with Sharia law.
Sharia law uses religion to inform what is the judicial system. In the same way that American right-wing Christians, based on their scripture... Hold on a second, Charles. Charles, hold on. You got to let me get the questions out, though.
No correlation.
You've got to let me get the question out. In the same way that Sharia law is Muslim scripture determining the judicial system, American right-wing Christians want to use their scripture to inform the judicial system. For example, homosexuality being illegal, abortion being illegal, the teaching of creationism in public school. So that's another similarity, right?
No, not even. You know what you do is mix apples and oranges.
No,
that's okay. But I'm not going to allow you to sit here and because Judeo-Christian law doesn't believe in homosexuality, nor does Buddhism or Hinduism. They all are anti-gay, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay, but I'm off that point already. I'm on the use of scripture to inform the law.
Well, obviously, you have a pro-liberal, pro-gay agenda, and that's fine. But I'm not going to allow you to sit here and, the right wing, I'm not a right winger.
Okay, but if you're going to say that what I'm saying is wrong, if you're not going to allow me, then you should explain to me why I'm wrong rather than just saying you don't agree.
Well, the thing that you've done and that you've done is if you want to have talking points, if you want to talk about politics or you want to talk about these issues, I don't have your talking points in front of me. So,
but we're just having a conversation. There are no talking points per se.
There are talking points because obviously you read from a piece of paper. Do you
no, but Charles, the talking
one of
points.
Those stupid Americans you talk to, David.
Charles,
as a matter of fact, I was doing this long before you were born, probably. So
I don't know what that has to do with it, though. The talking points are dictated by what you say on your show.
Is that you sit here and you try to put words or put your inflection on what I said and what I mean.
I think if anybody...
What I mean is simply this. And what I mean is simply this. There is no comparison, in my opinion, between right-wing extremism and Sharia law.
Okay,
so
no, that's good.
I'm not going to connect it to.
That's fine. I would have loved it, Charles, and we are out of time. I would have loved it if you had given us data as to why they're different, as opposed to just saying you won't allow me to connect it.
If you had given, all you have to do is go Google it.
Yeah.
And if you had given me the talking points that we were going to have and the topics, I would have provided you with the links that you could have gone.
No, but I think there's a misunderstanding.
Just like that thing about girls who are in all-girls environment do better in sciences and math. You should know that.
No, right. No, and you should know about the studies too.
It was a big study.
But Charles, I think the misunderstanding is, as we wrap up, that you are acting as if I kind of set the agenda, but I merely listened to one of your shows and talked about things you had already discussed. So I may have been mistaken, but I thought that because these were your topics from your show, they would be fair game.
Well, they are fair game, and I defended them. So, you know, I'm very comfortable with that. I said, yes, I would, if I had been on the Senate floor, I would punch Dianne Feinstein for exposing the Americans that she exposed to be harassed and to be threatened with death threats. Yes, she needs to pay. There is something that needs to happen to her. She needs to be indicted. And they fight. See, they used to fight in the Senate, in the old Senate and in the old Congress when guys were there.
And how about Bush and Cheney? They should be indicted too, right?
No, well, no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
See, you think so because you have that liberal agenda. See, you know, you part of that girly man clique. I get it, David.
But do you not think so because you have a right-wing agenda? In other words, the same allegation of bias could exist, right? We should talk about facts.
I don't think so because all the things that they did, first of all, were legal, and all the things they did were in the best interest of the country.
Well, but hold on, Charles. How were they, Charles, how were they in the best interest of the country when the report made clear that they did not work?
That's not true. It did work. The report is lying.
The report is lying. Okay.
Wrote the report of lies. That's what I said, man. You got that left wing thing going. You know, with the no Republicans were asked, no CIA people were asked about this report, and like Gruber said, most Americans are pretty stupid.
Charles,
so
but Charles, how can you say, Charles, how can you say that the report did not involve the CIA when it was this? Hold on, Charles, I got to get the question. The CIA are the ones who admitted that the techniques did not work. So how can you say the CIA was not involved?
That's a lie. That's a lie. You're lying. They did admit that it worked. Rodriguez admitted that they worked, and we got information from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
That's what was initially said.
And also Dr. Mitchell said that we got information from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Okay, so but we now know that that's not true. We now know that that's not true.
I don't know what books you're reading or who's giving you your information.
The Senate torture report.
It's not a torture. And by the way, waterboarding is not torture, young man.
We thought it was. We thought it was when the Japanese did it to us in World War II.
That's bull. We didn't think it was torture with the Japanese. It's not torture.
They were prosecuted for torture. Yeah, they were.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. Again, see, all you liberals, you like to go out and you like to lie.
I know. I'm just a girly man liberal. I know.
You grow up these big boogeyman things. Hey, man, grow up. Get some gonads.
All right, I'm going to try.
War is war.
I'm just a girly man liberal. I'm sorry.
When it comes to your hometown, David, you'll know that when these terrorists and these illegals come to your neighborhood.
Okay, well, all right. I apologize that I'm just a girly man with no gonads.
That's it, baby, you got your agenda. That's okay. It's America.
All right, we've been speaking with Charles Butler, nationally syndicated talk show host. He's a fascinating man. We can certainly agree on that. Charles, a pleasure having you on.
Fascinating guy too.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, man. Later.